The newest film from acclaimed director Bong Joon-ho, starring Robert Pattinson, Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo, among others. Bloody, we got humans. They're going to a new planet. Got Robert Pattinson. He's an expendable employee. He signed up for a special program that only he can do. He's basically a lab rat. Every time he dies, they upload his consciousness and print out a new body of him, and it retains all of his memories. And if somebody needs a new test for like a suit, or they need to test a virus or a vaccine for him, they just use old Mickey here. We're on the 17th iteration. Mickey 17. That's why they call it Mickey 17, Chris. And they're on the new planet. They've charted into this new planet, and he has to explore and go from there. And this whole story is kind of a little introduction of how that happened to him, as well as the following events that have transpired because these people came to this new planet. I love Bong Joon-ho. I love Snowpiercer. I love Parasite. So I was really excited. But
I was too. Maybe I just had too high expectations. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. To me, it's on par with, like, The Gorge. Call me crazy here, but it was kind of long and a little boring. Like, it starts off and, like, you're interested with the cloning. It dips into too many different areas where I'm like, oh, I'm actually kind of interested in this thing. And then it's like, it diverts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is kind of boring.
It kind of has ADHD a little bit. Like, it can't really stay in one lane. Has a hard time juggling a lot of themes and tones. You definitely don't need to go out in the theater and see it. If you're interested, you can stream it. It doesn't live up to his other work.
Is it better than The Gorge?
I had more fun with The Gorge.
I did too.
I hate to say it. Gosh dang it, man. Like, as not great as that movie is, I was like...
It's probably more expectations, because like I'm like, The Gorge doesn't look good, really.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's kind of fun. And this one, I'm like, kind of like Flight Risk, where you're like, oh, it's a great director. I like all their work pretty much. So I'm sure this is going to be good. And then it's just kind of slightly above average, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to me too, Chris. Just got too excited, too hyped. All right, let's start with some cons, because I got notes. It kind of dips. It crescendos, and then the second half really goes into a different direction that was not interesting, not like the first half. It was a little predictable to me, that second half. They're going to do this, and that's how it's going to end, sure. Whereas the first half, it was like, where's this going? I even thought to myself, this could go any direction.
Exactly.
Turns out I didn't like the direction it went, Chris. I thought it'd be more like Parasite or Snowpiercer, but it ended up being, I don't know if you ever seen Bong Joon-ho's other movie, Okja.
Heard of it, I ain't seen.
It's the big little elephant dog puppy. It's more like that. Whereas I wished it would have had more commentary on like the kindness of humanity, the value of life, no matter how insignificant. Because at the beginning, Stephen Wen's character is like, hey, Mickey, we'll see you later. Sorry you died. But he doesn't care about Mickey because he's like, you're just going to wake up in a new body anyway. He's very rude about it. And everyone's rude about it. In the first 10 minutes, you see his backstory and nobody cares about Mickey. He's dispensable. He's nothing. So I thought I was going to comment on, no matter how insignificant someone's life may seem, there's value in it. And also I thought it would have explored more of like the sci-fi tech. There's a new version of you that comes out, puts forth a different aspect of your personality more at the forefront. Mickey 18 is super mean. Mickey 17 is more of a meek kind of loner. It had that there in the first half, and then it's like, hey, what if these elephant monster things, huh? We want to do the elephant monster things, the roly-polies. So yeah, it kind of abandons that. Halfway through, I wasn't a fan. So instead of something deeper, we get, like you said, Mark Ruffalo bloody in his weird veneers wanting to talk terms with this giant hippo monster thing. It's disappointing, I guess. I don't know.
Halfway through, it really just kind of starts falling apart to me. Basically, Mickey 18 is trying to kill Mickey 17, and you're like, oh, this is intense. 5 minutes later, it's like both of them with the girlfriend trying to have like a three-way, and it just like kind of draws out. And I'm just like, all right, this is kind of boring. Like, why do we care about this? There is some other person on the ship has a crush on Mickey 17. Like, can I got 17? And this is like a good 20 minutes. Why are we having this? It was interesting. You just knocked the train off the tracks here. The rest of the movie, I just feel like falls apart. It would have been better if they had more of like a one main story and maybe throw in a little small side quest or something. But this one's just like, oh, side quest, this.
I assume this is a graphic novel that has multiple volumes because it feels like that. It feels like there's a lot of irrelevant subplots where they're like, hey, this part of the thing kind of works in with this thing, so we may have to mention it here and there. There's inklings of a full storyline, but they couldn't expand it because of time. But in the source material, there probably is something more significant there. There's a lot of weird things, like Steven, there's a subplot where he's involved with the mob shark or loan shark and the mob, and then like he's scared that someone will get him on the spaceship, and I'm like, that didn't have anything to really do with anything.
Yeah.
There's another plot where Toni Collette's character is like obsessed with sauces. The Mark Ruffalo thing where there's like too much happening, you know. They've really liked bits and pieces of the source material, I think, and they're like, oh, we got to include this because this parts could be connected to current stuff, you know, and comment on that. But I was like, it should have just been a more concise, smaller story focused on something deeper than just, hey, look how dumb Mark Ruffalo is, you know?
Yeah.
Because the heart of it really is Mickey 17. And in the beginning, you're like, oh man, this is good. I like where this is going. And then it just evolves very quickly. So it's a little disappointing to me, Chris. I don't know.
Got a couple pros here.
Shoot, let's talk.
I thought it was pretty funny. Some funny moments. I'd say star of the show is Robert here.
Oh, yes.
You can really tell how good of an actor is when you see him like side by side. Obviously, it's him acting both people, but it's like they're completely different.
Yeah. Although there was one moment where Mickey's 17 and 18, they're side by side, and something happens to Mark Ruffalo. He gets hurt. And there's a shot of them laughing, and it's the exact same. Like, I think they just copied and pasted because he laughs, like he shrugs his shoulders and tilts his head up and laughs. Yeah. It's the exact same position. It's very quick and funny. You blink and you'll miss a thing. But I agree. Robert Pattinson's definitely the best part of this. He's got some range, buddy. He's putting on a very funny voice that was hard to get used to. But once you did, you're like, okay, this is him now. Have you ever seen the movie The Devil All the Time?
Is that Korean?
It's with Robert Pattinson. There's Tom Holland's in there.
Oh, he's the pasture guy.
Yes, he's the pasture. Yeah. Yes, sitting out there with the cows. Yeah,
yeah.
No, but he plays a pastor, a priest.
yeah.
And he's got a funny voice, kind of like that, where he's like, delusions.
Yeah.
Delusions!
Should have just had him more in the movie. Yeah. Maybe have the main character. Just a thought. I don't know. I like the storytelling in the first half because it shows Mickey 17 in a place, and then it's like,
yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
I like that sort of nonlinear storytelling to kind of paint the whole picture in a non-specific way like that. Parasite does that really well. I also have in my note here, Toni Collette. She's great. She has an ability to make the ugliest faces I've ever seen. Have you ever seen Hereditary? She's in that. She's got a control over her face like Jim Carrey would blush. You know what I mean? And then I also have in my notes, why was he in the pigeon costume?
Yeah. What was that?
The whole time, there's one guy. He's just in a pigeon costume the whole movie.
I don't know.
The whole movie. He never takes it off.
I don't know.
Listeners, tell us why he's in the pigeon costume. Thanks for watching these highlights of our episode of the Stale Popcorn Podcast. If you want to listen to the full episode, check out the links in the description. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you do that with your favorite YouTuber, I'm sure they would appreciate it too. Thanks, and have a great day.